Welcome back to Double Dose. I'm your host, Daniel.
And I'm your host, Dipesh.
And we're here to take you from Earth to the end of pi.
Oh, damn.
We're going to get there on this podcast. That's how crazy we be.
Let me do some quick maths real quick.
Yeah.
I'll find the ending right now.
Yeah.
Didn't you do a good Pingu's dad impression?
No, that's the little brother.
Yeah. You know what?
Dad is like
angry guy from Maryland.
Yeah. It's Italian.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Pingu is run by an Italian company, and it's gibberish Italian.
Is that meant to be gibberish Italian?
Yes.
Bullshit. Oh my god, dude. That blown my mind. I thought it was just just gibberish.
No,
like an English-made thing.
No, it's Italian.
How did that get picked up then?
What do you mean? No, because it was made by an Italian company and then they just converted it to Aussie. But so it wasn't even Aussie. It's just play the same thing. It's got no captions or... It's just gibberish. It's like Simish.
That's...
Look up the guy that does the voices. This is going to be in the podcast. I'm going to snip it in.
Okay. This can be a cold start.
Yeah.
Carlo Bonomi. I want to see him record, dude. This is exciting.
The second video.
Well, I can hear it now.
Yeah.
I can hear the Italian.
Listen.
With the Japanese subtitles.
Yeah. He is the baby. He does the mum and the dad. It's just Italian.
Wow, dude.
If you look at the behind the scenes, they're all just like
crazy.
clapping every time he does like a take.
That is crazy. That's blowing my mind.
I'm so glad.
Daniel.
What's up?
I wanted to show you, we were just talking earlier before we started this episode, and I was asking you, have you seen the new PS5 controllers
No, I haven't.
Subject to come out.
See.
I don't know if this is 100% locked in, but I'm bringing up a photo for you right now. We'll bring it up on the screen for those of you watching. They're introducing buttons for the last two fingers on your hands. So you now be using two thumbs for joysticks and buttons, both pointer and middle finger for your triggers and bumpers, and now extra buttons underneath.
I'm going to rain on your parade, my friend.
It's old school.
But the Xbox done that for like 4 or 5 years now. Look up Xbox Pro Elite controller.
This is what I'm saying, dude. I was saying you have your ears to the internet streets. I don't know. This is news to me.
Because the streets are on the eats. That's see the back? The paddles. And they've got ones you can just customize. And also that one, you can take off the analog sticks and put on like higher or shorter analog sticks and change the buttons and stuff. $200 controller. I think $250 here in Australia.
Controls are already expensive for when they went wireless.
Oh, here we go. 1 sec. I'm going to show you something right now. Hold the fort.
All right. Scooby-Doo-Wop. I'm the scat man. Daniel's bringing something over. He's blowing it like it's a cartridge from 1993. What's he got for us?
This was one of my favorite controllers.
Got the Steam controller.
Made. It's got it already. Feel it.
Oh yeah. We played
Steam
with
controller.
This. We played Streets of Rage and stuff like this on this.
It's got 2 track pads, so that it navigates a mouse like a normal.
That's cool. I mean,
and fully programmable. And when you can program it to be like, when I touch this, it activates the gyro, and then I can do this. Or when I just swipe up and down this, it activates some other maneuver. Or when I swipe left, it does a different configuration. Yeah, cool. It was an interesting controller that I've come across.
That's cool.
And also the trigger has a second functionality. When you press all the way, it clicks.
Yeah, I like that.
So you could be like, I activate something on that click only. So Call of Duty, you could be like, I look at down the sight with a half click and a full click shoots.
Oh, damn. That's crazy.
So you could be like, map out 2 times the amount of shit.
That's actually where I was going to with showing you these controllers. I was wondering, like, do you think it's taking like I mean, I know this is very subjective, but I found that I enjoyed when multiplayer games just started coming out, with console and stuff like that. Yeah. And people were still kind of doing the whole running around and shooting thing, and then it got super competitive, and then it got to a point where, like, I don't know, you feel like you're not really playing. Like, the life of a multiplayer person, PvP, is just like a couple of seconds on like a FPS game, and it's just all about like
The weird
super sensitivity. People are doing all these like weird like hacking things while they're running around, not hacking things, but like all these little things just to like make their movings like the best way possible, running around a certain way, doing all these little tips and tricks, and it's like kind of taken away from like it being just a game in the end. And do you think this is adding another level now? Like people are going to be even more on it. Like
it's been around for 5 years, I'd say.
But you know what I mean? Like the introduction of it.
I think potentially people have been already like this. It's just whether or not it was common knowledge to know all this stuff, because now we have the internet. But I feel like when the Xbox first came out, there was probably a couple people who were insane at it.
Yeah.
No matter I know like doing there was all the crazy stuff.
I know like when YouTube first came out and like you'd watch like someone do a speed run, you're like, whoa, how is he doing this on an old game? I know there's people always existing, like people that just like clocked a game that became experts at a game, and that's always been a thing. But it always feels like that's the standard to become that person. If you were to have fun online, you have to be in that upper echelon of players. Otherwise, you're just going to keep dying. It's not really a fun game. It's you're on edge all the time. Have to perform. You can't chill and just game.
I get what you mean, but I feel like that's capitalism 101, where it's you got to buy this to be the best. And now it's like, I got to have this to be the best. When there are plenty of single-player games you can play and not have to worry about it.
Yeah.
That's why I've completely stopped competitive gaming.
That's my go-to, man. I like adventure games. I just like to chill, run around, explore. That's why Zelda Breath of the Wild was so amazing for me when it came out. Like, well, I mean, I saw you... I always had this draw to Zelda games. I never had a Nintendo growing up. I had that Nintendo 64. For those listeners of the podcast, you know that I had that for a year when I was younger. And they had Ocarina of Time. But I was too young to really play it from the beginning to the end. I kind of just picked up from whoever I borrowed it from.
Yeah.
And every time I went to a friend's house who had like Twilight Princess or any other Zelda game, I'd be obsessed with it. I want to play with it. When I saw you play Breath of the Wild, I'm like, this looks incredible. And then I got it at like the perfect time during lockdown. Couldn't exit my house. This game, such beautiful atmosphere, the soundtrack. It was like a complete escape. I felt so serene and relaxed when I was playing that game, and there was so much to explore. You got rewarded for exploring.
There was so much to every place you went. I felt like there was reward.
I was so obsessed with that game, man. I was working and I was thinking about the game. I was taking it into bed. I was anywhere.
I got a Switch almost exclusively for that and Super Smash Brothers and Mario, the Odyssey one, which was. Have you played Odyssey?
I haven't. Well, I got that All Stars one where it has 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, maybe.
Oh no, you maybe when you leave here, borrow Odyssey from me.
Okay, yeah, that's one I want to play, and I want to play that Bowser's Fury one as well.
It wasn't as good as Odyssey. Probably one of the I 100%ed Odyssey.
Well, I played 64 to death. And I just recently started up Sunshine because I used to play with my buddy when we were in high school because he had a GameCube. He had Sunshine and he was a gun at it. Like, because it was the mechanics of that game were a bit tough with the introduction of that little flood, the little Super Soaker. It switched up, especially from the jump from Mario 64 to that was huge. And the controls are like, you got to be a bit of a finesse with it. You know, you got to flick the joystick if you want him to jump a certain way and he runs really quick on that game. So, it's funny, like I'm playing it and with the memory of watching my friend play because he was like an expert at that game, and I'm finding some of these levels so difficult. But I'm playing it for the first time by myself, and it's really fun. So it's like it's cool. I'm gonna get through that. I'm gonna get through Galaxy, I guess it is. I'll borrow Odyssey from you, and I cannot wait for the new Zelda game to come out next year.
Mid next year.
Yeah,
it's a little while, but I've got a while to get through when it comes out.
Perfect time to get through Mario games.
Yeah. Well, Odyssey was one of those ones as well where I couldn't wait to get on it. Yeah, I had to be on it.
Like, I heard it was a great jump. Like from was that? Would you say that that's like the best sequel to Sunshine? Galaxy didn't really feel that.
I think it was the best Mario game I've ever played.
Whoa!
I thought it was everything Super Mario 64 was and more.
Whoa!
I was very impressed and thought best Mario game of all time, 100%.
I heard they took
so many homages, so many cool things to unlock. Like every level was huge. I'm talking like, when you enter the level in Mario and like Bomb's Field and there's only like 6 or 7 stars you can find in each level.
Yeah.
I'm talking there's like 70 stars in each level.
Really?
Yes.
Does it get a bit repetitive?
Never.
That's what I'm.
By the end, I'm like,
forward to.
Where is these things? And then eventually, when you learn more about the game, unlock a couple more things, you come back, you're like, I get it now.
Right.
I get where these things are.
Because I'm playing
it's
Sunshine.
Unbelievable.
I'm playing Sunshine, and I mean, I'm excited because you got the main world, and then you got the sub worlds, and you got instead of stars, they're sunshine sprites. Mm-hmm. But the first world, there was already a double up, and there was 2 collect the red coin games within the world. I'm like, don't do that just to get another sunshine sprite. Come up with something creative. So already having that double up in the one world, I was like, this is alright, but like it's such a fun world. I think it's just a very nice, bright game. Yeah,
it is. Odyssey was that and more, dude.
Oh, that reminds me of something. I only roughly touched upon this yesterday. I didn't do a deep dive enough. I was going to save it for another episode, but we're talking about it. It seems like the right time to bring it up. So, for those of you that have played Breath of the Wild, there's a character in it. Let me try to remember his name. Nintendo have never been in the limelight for any risky things. They've always played it safe with all their characters and creations.
Okay.
And, it's always been about an inclusive, family-friendly model, right? Mm-hmm. They never really pushed the boundaries. They've got this character who's a little bit flamboyant, right? He's got a bit of an edge to him, but that's not the reason he's apparently up in smoke. Apparently, this is the most hated character in the Nintendo universe.
Why?
And I think it might be an American thing from what I roughly looked at, but people are sick of this guy. So I'll give people that haven't played the game a bit of context. There's a character in Zelda Breath of the Wild who sells you a house, and after he sells you a house, he essentially kind of like camps out on the front lawn with his friend, and he's there just indefinitely. Mm-hmm. And it's a type of game that you don't really need to go to your house. Like, you're not really chilling out at the end of the day to go back to the house. He's just in there. Apparently, heaps of people have issues with him squatting on your property, and there's the Reddit forums and all these questionnaires about how do I get Bolson to get off my property, and people were looking up Japan squatting rights compared to American squatting rights and bringing in laws into it, and people even wrote up code of like, this is how you delete Bolson from the game code and stuff like that. It was getting so crazy.
Because they hate this motherfucker so much.
People are like genuine have hate. Like, fuck Bolson, get this piece of shit off my property. Like it's their property, and they hate him squatting on. And they're like looking up the laws of like squatting laws in America, and they're like, well, since it's a game that's built in Japan but then released in America, the American release should have the American laws applied to it instead of the Japan laws. I'm like, it's out of control, dude. This is just a game. It's not your own personal home.
What the fuck is
going on? People are hating on this dude.
What the fuck? Wait, so did this bother you in the game when you bought the house?
Bro, I didn't even think about it. I was just like...
Why is your thing not fully pushed in?
I like a little bit hanging out. Oh, no. I just need to do that to light it up. But, I mean...
What a weird thing to get... I would get off my property.
Dude, there's people that have written how the best way to get him from coming back to your property, because there's a period in the game where he goes to a separate village, but he does come back. And dude, people are getting this is what you do. You collect a bunch of wood, you build a bunch of fires on this bridge, and you build enough fires that he can't come back to your house, and you block him from coming to your house. Like, people are going out of control.
But it's like, what, you have to reset the game?
There's a whole Reddit thread, the issue with Bolson.
Read it out.
I hope this is a good one. I've seen threads about Bolson being a squatter, and I've seen people bring up squatter laws in Japan and America. Whilst interesting, it does not make sense. The legality of Bolson squatting under the tree should be looked upon in the current situation of Hyrule in Breath of the Wild. Since the Kingdom of Hyrule as a governing entity has not existed for 100 years, so without a governing entity or to enforce any laws, Hyrule is in a state of anarchy. Sure, you have Impa, Riju, and others, but they aren't governments. So legally speaking, without any laws, Bolson can sit under that tree as much as he wants.
Fuck off, Bolson. What's the top comment say?
I talked to him again after he went back to that tree in Hateno. He said he's going to retire. I didn't think anything of it. Came back a couple days later and he's still gone. Kind of wish he'd come back. What if I need renovations?
Fucking random thing.
Dude, I couldn't believe the amount of hate that this character has.
What the fuck?
And yeah, people
get so mad about the weirdest shit in games.
And like, it's not just like they're annoyed at it. They genuinely have a disgust for him. Like it's freaky, and like it's a game. Like, and you don't even like go to the home to. The home in the game is not a central part of the game. Like, you don't have to go home. You don't even have to touch the house. It's just part of one little mission.
Yeah.
You can renovate it. You can store some stuff in it, but you never really have to go to it.
Yeah, I didn't even know you could buy a house. I don't think I ever did it.
It's not necessary. Like, you can literally complete the game without buying a house. It's so bizarre. These people, like, it's incredible.
It reminds me of Animal Crossing a little bit, when, you know, the guys that start on your island in the game. Do you know Animal Crossing?
I'm not too familiar with I know the game, but I'm not, I don't know all the ins and outs of it.
You get a random selection of guys that start with you in the game, and there's like 900 characters that you could possibly get in the game, right?
900?
Something like that.
Jeez.
And they're all different and have different personality traits and different voices. And I started it, and one of the guys on my island I just hated, and I was Googling in a complete hysterical rage, how the fuck do I get these guys off my island, please?
You're one of these people, man.
Yeah, I felt like that at the beginning, but it was also because, like, I don't know what the hell's going on. It just pissed me off to no end for some reason.
I started a whole new game just to get that freeloading fool off my lawn. Don't talk to him again after the wedding.
Okay. See, I don't think it bothered me because I don't even think I interacted with him.
Isn't that crazy, man?
Holy crap.
I can't believe that. Okay, Bolson, you can get away from my house now.
Any other games that have ever upset you like that?
It never upset me.
No, but I mean, like, has that ever happened to you in any game where you're just so fucking mad?
At a character?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but I've definitely, like, been in frustrating games where I'm like, can't stand this piece of shit.
Yeah, okay. Fucking Whizpig and Diddy Kong Racing. I must smash the controller in half with strength.
I love Diddy Kong Racing.
I did. The Whizpig rocket battle and when he went. Did you ever get to space? The space levels? The secret space levels?
I only played as a kid, so I mean, you know, I would have only just played the basic stuff.
Okay, well,
I loved playing with the aeroplanes though.
Well, you know, this is before the days of cheats and figuring out guides and stuff. And so when we beat the game, there's like there's an ending to the game, but it's not the real ending. And then we did everything else in the game, and then all of a sudden we're like, you know, get all the secret trophies, and we ran around, and then there was a place where all the trophies were lined up. There was a sign where all the trophies were lined up, and then one day my uncle's like, I'm just going to drive into the sign, because, you know, it had that open hub world before you went into different levels, which I loved. It was like a Mario Kart with a hub world. Yeah. And you could do different stuff, and I thought that was so cool. Right where that lighthouse is pretty much there. On the right, there was a little sign, and you drive into the sign when you've got all the gold trophy race from every hub world, for every domain world. So you've done the Dino Domain, you've done the Frosty Village, you've done all that stuff, the Haunted Woods, you've done all of that. When you drive into it, like a cutscene plays, and the lighthouse turns into a rocket ship and shoots off into the sky, and you go into a space like domain, which is like another new 6 levels.
Imagine finding that by accident, like one of the first people.
We did that, and I thought my heart was going to explode out of my chest. My uncle did it. I remember jumping up on the screen going, what is happening? Because we loved the game so much, we thought we'd done everything.
You played it front to back.
And then we're jumping around, and then all these new secret levels. It had such cool music. And then there was a second boss battle where you versus Whizpig on a rocket. And he's like flying through space, and that was so hard, I literally almost imploded the game console. Yeah, dude. That's when you're gripping the controller so tight. Yeah. Thank God it was pretty sturdy at the time. Yeah, wow. That was the race. Final race. Oh, wow. I did that with my buddy in early high school. We played Halo so much, and it was one of those games where, like, you knew
you played it so much that you knew the pacing. You knew which creature or like enemy was going to come out, where he was going to come out, at the timing of when he was going to come out, just based on the sounds. Like we played it that much that we knew, like we just explored the campaign levels, you know. And it's pretty like it's one of those what's it called when like you can't go off the beaten path. It's not sandbox.
Open world? Huh?
No, like when there's kind of like a linear path.
Yeah, linear story game.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
I think there's a word for it. It's obviously one of those games you can't just like walk off somewhere random.
No, it's a linear game.
And we would just explore things that the game doesn't really let you. And we used to find so much crap. And it was still like, I find like Halo was still around that time where like cheat codes. The Easter eggs within the game were just as popular as the cheat codes. It wasn't just all about cheat codes. So I remember there was a level where at a certain point, if you like walked a certain path and like, you know, it was like you were like rock climbing essentially. If you went a certain way, you could skip like the whole level and you'd end up right at the end cutscene, and the enemies are just like on dormant, like just standing there,
waiting
just, like,
for the cutscene to trigger.
Yeah, and it doesn't because you haven't got to the whole level yet.
Those were the games where you would do that with your mate and just like try and not beat the game. You would just try and jump over the level and get into the weirdest, wackiest stuff. Yeah. That was like a really cool campaign. So when they released the cool story is when they released the Master Chief Collection on PC, me and my friend, who you know, we played the whole campaign again on the PC with high graphics. They had redone all the graphics.
Yeah, I remember.
So it's all high quality now, and I thought, oh, this is great. And you can toggle the graphics. You press tab, and you can see what it used to look like. I'm like, holy shit, the textures.
I can't remember. I can't imagine that when that came out. I think I was in year 4. I thought that was the most realistic shit I have ever seen.
It was.
I was like blown away. And then you look at like the not the Spartans, the generals and shit faces, and it's like just
like a fucking polygon. It's like
Lara Croft. Lara Croft, just freaking
GoldenEye shit.
Yeah, just freaking a wedge for a head.
Yeah, my dad got us the Xbox for Christmas.
Yeah,
I didn't even know what it was because I was still heavily into the N64. I wasn't researching consoles at all. Yeah. But he just comes home and he's like, "This is the new gaming console," and this green glowing thing. I'm
dude.
like, this looks like something out of like futuristic, like Futurama.
It looks
shit.
so futuristic because like everything had like
and you
a green tinge to it.
And I was like, what is this menu?
Dude, even like the little...
And Halo was one of the games he got for
There were so many little subtle things, like the cord on the controller had like... It was like slightly dark see-through green, and the center looked like it was holographic and stuff. You thought it was a button. And
do you remember how freaking big
I still got it, man. I still got it at home.
Controller was?
I still got it at home. I got the big one, and I got the second gen one was a bit smaller.
Yeah, that's what we had.
And I got it. I feel like I got it maybe early high school. Actually, it was quite a while after it had been released. And it's funny because I was like, I got scared of Halo. I was fine playing the first 2 episodes. And I think the third episode was when you're first introduced to the hunters, and I couldn't do it. And then I met a friend.
They're so aggressively crazy.
The music just switches up, dude. You're just playing, and it's like. You're like, oh shit! And these things come down, and you can't touch them. You cannot kill them. You don't know what the hell's going on. There's fluorescent orange blood all over the floor. They got spikes on the back of the head. You're like, what the hell is this? This looks like nothing I've versed before. And I would play the game up until that point and then restart it and play the game up to that point until I met a friend who was like, yeah, I finished the game ages ago. We'll do co-op. And we and him went through the whole game co-op, and that's when we became like close friends, and we just played the shit out of the game.
Yeah, nice. I really like that story. He couldn't beat the third level.
Dude, I was so scared.
Yeah,
because like I know exactly what happens. You're with the NPCs on the first level, second level.
They start dying off,
and then they start dying off, and then you're on your own for a bit, and then the mood shifts.
Yeah,
and then the music starts changing up, and then you freaking get introduced to these hunters, and it's all of a sudden you're not playing in nice, open, bright sunlight levels. It's all dark and shit, and you're like, oh damn, this is getting serious now.
Yeah, once the flood starts coming in, that was scary as fuck.
And they didn't advertise that at all.
No,
that was a hidden thing. The flood came out of nowhere. That was freaky as shit, and they were so tough.
When we tried to play it on Legendary, I could barely do it with my friend now.
You get one of those little flood guys.
Mouse.
They pick up the rocket launcher. They're looking at you, and you're like, you shouldn't be able to pick up things. You're like, you're like a zombie type of thing.
Yeah, and they're just shooting at you, and there's little ones bacteria. You just take out like your whole shield in one go.
They just explode on you.
Yeah,
the big mamas.
Yeah, they're like nukes.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was a freaky game. 343 Guilty Spark.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
The library was the hardest one for me. Me and my brother could never complete it on Legendary, and I did it this like 2 years ago or a year ago.
Yeah.
With my mate, and I thought I fucking did it.
That's a game you sweat, dude. You sweat, especially on Legendary on those last levels when it's like you're literally running for your life.
I think on Legendary if one of you dies in co-op, you both die. You both reset the checkpoint.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I found that the harder the level you played, the quicker you played through the levels. You didn't really, you didn't savor it. You just sprinted through shit.
I just could barely complete the level. I thought how
survival.
Freaking long the levels were.
They're long.
Yeah. How much map they fit on each level. I thought was mind blowing.
Yeah. We should do a Halo run one day.
Yeah, we should.
That'd be good. We'll do a live stream.
Do it live.
Good. We'll do it live. What Twitch stream?
Yeah, we'll do it one
Double
day.
Dose Network.
Maybe Double Dose.
Now on Twitch.
Halo edition.
Nice.
Okay, I got a story for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I wanted to tell you this story. I came across it in my mind's eye the other day and thought Dipesh would love this.
Go for it.
I'm sitting in class one day, and it was a geography class, and this was year 10, grade 10. I'm sitting one row from the back left, and it was in a class where, no one really gives a shit. So we were just like, whatever. Geography, I felt like a lot of people didn't really care about.
Yeah, that's one of those classes where,
I was like, whatever. Could you even do it as elective?
I don't think so. I thought it was just mandatory. You could do history. It was always history and geography, and then history was an elective.
Okay. They're like, fuck the world after.
Yeah. Maybe it was like agriculture or something it turned into.
Economic studies.
I just remember learning about like agriculture. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well,
this is how you water a plant. Dude, not to derail you, and I want you to get stuck into this story, but we went on an excursion to KFC for geography.
Are you serious?
That's a public school shit right there.
Oh, man.
And we went into a room near KFC local to us. They sat us in a room. You learn about farming and chickens and stuff like that. And after they do you watch the video, they bring in free KFC, and you're like, okay, that's pretty good.
Maybe the experiment was to see if you'd actually fucking eat it.
I don't know, man. No, because like I remember half of the school went to Macca's and half the school went to KFC. And we watched the video. We saw them how they made the chicken, how the chickens came. It was all fresh. And
they chop them in the video, kill them.
I can't remember. I think it was more about like farming and the agriculture side of it, and
kept in the huge warehouse.
Yeah, the battery hens. Yeah, it was interesting.
What the fuck?
No, tell me about your story. Sorry.
Okay,
derailed you.
Back of the geography class.
Yep.
And I'm just sitting down. I think it's like probably second period of the day, and the next one will be recess, and I'm sitting at the back and we're just chilling, and I hear some kerfuffle going on behind me, and I look behind, and two of the guys who are just like a bit of drop kicks or whatever at the school, who really didn't give a shit and was kind of like always getting in trouble. They're like, one of them wants to sit at the edge seat closest to the window, and then so the one that there was a bigger guy and a slightly smaller guy. One of the guys is pretty solid, and he gets the seat first, and then the other guy, who was supposedly his mate, I guess, they had like a weird relationship, because they would like get into arguments and stuff all the time, or just try and like roughhouse all the time.
I'm the bigger Gronk.
Yeah. So one of them sits down in the corner, and the other guy's like, "That's my seat." And he's like, "I'm here first. This isn't your seat."
Yeah.
And he starts pushing him, right, to like get out of the seat. And the guy's like, "No, I'm here. Like, fuck off." It's getting like he's getting worked up. He's like, "Nah, fuck off." He starts taking it way too far for a joke. You can tell he's joking, but he takes it way too far.
And just oblivious teacher?
the teacher was like not even in the room yet.
right,
it was like right at the start of the class. Okay. And then I'm looking at it. It's getting real rowdy. And then the guy takes off his bag and properly stands up. And he was like a solid dude. He fucking pushes the kid real hard. And the other kid goes like quite a far back because he gave him a hard shove, like get lost. And he meant it at that point. Then that only angered the second kid. The second kid comes in to like push him back. The kid that was getting real upset, who was in the seat first, has none of it. He fucking right crosses him right in the fucking mouth. The kid's tooth goes flying across the room. The tooth is like a projectile, goes pew. The guy touches his mouth. There is blood pissing out of his face. He's like,
how are these friends?
I couldn't believe it. I saw it happen in slow motion. This is ridiculous. The fucking hit just hit him right like that.
That's so over the top reaction.
So fucking hard. And the guy's like shaking immediately.
I can already picture who it is in my head.
My tooth.
I can already picture who I'm looking at.
Yeah. He goes, holy shit, my tooth. And it was fucking so much blood coming out of his face. And I was impressed how hard he hit him.
Yeah. It's not necessary.
He was shocked. And there was so much blood, and I could just see his empty, gapped mouth.
It was one of the front teeth.
Yeah, one of the absolute front teeth got knocked completely out of his head.
Damn.
And then the teacher came in and was like, "Holy shit, what's happening?
Whose tooth is this?"
And then the teachers just called two of us randomly and asked us to write down like a witness statement of what happened. And I embellished the story hard, like so mad. Like I said, like. Kid 1 was just sitting calmly in his chair, and kid 2 came in being an idiot, and I literally wrote it like verbatim, like, and then he delivered like the sweetest right cross in slow motion with the tooth projectile,
like a UFC announcer describing it.
Just described it with so much detail and beauty, and I said, "This is what I saw."
Yeah.
But that kid got wrecked, and then he had to come in. I think he had to wear braces after that as well. But then he came to school the next day and they said they put like another tooth in there or something. And then like 2 hours later in the second class, one other kid heard that kid knocked out his tooth. And then he tried to fight the kid that knocked out the guy's tooth again and got into another fight and fucking punched the guy's eye out.
His eye out?
No, like a blacked eye, one of the other kids, because it just started randomly. We just came into visual arts one day.
Oh my God.
And then he's like, I heard you did this. And they fucking start fist fighting in the middle of the classroom.
Man, isn't it funny? Like high school guys, they thought that was the main part of the life. Like that was so important in life, high school.
I know.
It was so funny to look back at.
They're peaking in high school.
Oh, it's so badly, dude. It's so funny to look back at it, and people like took that shit so seriously. Like this is gonna be my.
We all did. We all like took it way seriouser than it needed to be. But to be fair, excuse me,
there's a massive pecking order.
I think the teachers G it up, and like you need to study so hard now. This is so important for your life. When in reality, all we need is a teacher to sit down and say, "There is so many other options than this." By the way,
you got to find what you want to do and focus on that.
Yeah, and
I get
real world skills.
A lot of people don't know what they want, so it's you got to force people to try a bunch of things till they find out what they want. I get that sort of stuff.
Why couldn't they be like, here's a stress management class, here's a how to deal with your emotions class, here's a real world life skills class, like here's how to apply for a driver's license. Like, ask any questions you want to know about real world, and it's like, how do I buy a house?
No, instead it was, mate, when you get to the real world...
Do you know Pythagoras? Because that's the main thing you need to know. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Do you need to
Osmosis?
know that? Osmosis.
High pressure traveling through a semi-permeable membrane?
Yeah.
I remember, like, they'd just be scaring you, like, when you get to the real world...
You ain't going to know shit.
No one's gonna help you. No one's gonna spoon feed you.
And in reality, it's way more helpful, and everyone's way more helpful than school.
You can just ask a question, and then or you can just look up an answer. And you're like, okay, cool.
I know, right? I just quickly Google, how do I do this? Yeah. Or you can just ask anyone, how do I do this? And they go, oh, here's how you do it.
Wait, you're not all going to work in factories?
You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket all the time.
Yeah, dude, that one.
Or you need to write this. You need to know this shit because blah blah blah.
We're all going to be engineers.
Also, standardized testing. It's like, how fast can you write?
Dude, I always hated that, man. Like, what if I have the answers? I just can't write fast.
Yeah, I know.
I'm penalized now.
Yeah.
Give me as much time as I want.
Yep.
I can't get more knowledge if I have nothing with me. It's all in my head.
I hated standardized testing.
Let's not go down that road, dude. We could go for the whole podcast episode would be about how shitty high school was.
Yeah, I know. I got one other thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Have you seen there's a D&D movie coming out? Dungeons and Dragons.
No.
You haven't heard anything?
No.
Big budget, man. Massive.
Wow.
Like, huge. And
is it tough to kind of make a story that's going to be great?
I don't know. There's so much you can tell,
Yeah.
but it seems to be they've got like a rambunctious bard and they've got a druid and there's a wizard and crazy stuff happening.
Okay.
Looks great. Like looks great visually, and it looks like it could be a lot of fun.
It's animated?
No, it's real, live
Right.
action, like Lord of the Rings style.
My worry is that it's going to have internet humor, which I despise. But I'm hoping it's not.
I watched the trailer because I thought I got to see
You show me after the episode.
whether or not it's good.
Yeah.
And I personally think it looks okay.
Yeah, okay.
It could be good.
Yeah, okay.
Did you ever see the old Dungeons and Dragons movies?
No.
Oh man, they are rough.
Yeah, right.
Special effects of the 2000s, like Did you ever watch Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, of course.
The Mortal Kombat movie?
Yeah.
Number 2,
Yep.
where it's like they're transforming into fucking weird animals and shit.
Yeah.
It looked like that, the first Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh, jeez. I love that Mortal Kombat sequel, and they took off where the last one left off, and Raiden's just a complete different actor.
Yeah, I know, right? So weird.
Sonya Blade, though.
Who was she in the film?
She's the chick in...
I know, but like...
the last action... in Billy Madison.
Was that her?
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, I had the hots for her in Billy Madison.
Who didn't?
I don't know. What was that one?
I don't know.
What was that one movie that unlocked something for you when what was that movie when that unlocked something for you when you were a kid and you thought something's going on here, but I don't know what it is?
I feel like it was this actress for sure. I mean, I don't know. I would have to watch the movie to jog my memory.
What movie do you think it was when you were watching this? I think like one of the Austin Powers films, one of the busty, one of the busty girls. And I'm going, what the hell is going on down there?
For sure, dude. Oh, you know who else? That I guess a lot of it would have been early high school, right? Elizabeth Hurley in Bedazzled.
Oh yeah. She's like sexified 100 times.
Big time.
Bedazzled.
I watched that in high school. I was like, God dang.
Yeah. She's super banging in that film.
Yeah, Liz Hurley.
She was married to Shane Warne.
Is she?
She was. He died.
Oh boy, yeah.
They were married.
They were married till he died?
Pretty sure.
Wow.
Check it out.
I did not know that.
Type in Liz Hurley husband. Brendan Fraser making a comeback, son.
Hell yeah, man. All the best to him.
I know why he left. It's so sad.
Yeah, it's not nice. I don't think it is, dude. Well, on her thing, it just says spouse. Arun Nair from 2007 to 2011. Let's look up Shane Warne.
It was Shane Warne. I'm 100%.
Maybe he was married to another hot
No,
chick.
it was her for a while.
Let's get a bit of Wikipedia action happening. How weird is it that you can't it just doesn't just. I guess he's not that internationally famous though.
Nah. Before her. Let's type Liz Hurley. It'll come up. Am I thinking of the right
What if they
dude?
What if they just went out once?
And they go, Liz. No, I saw they were married. I'm 100%.
Okay, yeah, they did. Must have been years ago, hey?
Oh, fuck. Told ya. I ain't crazy, boy.
You're right then.
You right, mate?
Wonder when that went down.
Too right, cunt.
You're going to have to bleep that.
Nah, mate.
I feel like our swearing's going to definitely it drops us in views for YouTube.
I don't know. I see tons of people swearing and they get a bazillion views. Joe Rogan.
He's on top. He's unstoppable. They know that they can't stop him. The Bro Jogan experience.
We're just not targeting the 12-year-olds, but it's like we don't want that as our audience either. So it's like we're going to get memed on like crazy.
Exactly. It will just become a meme instantly.
And memes I won't get.
Yeah, they'll be too dank.
The worst memes possible.
Some kiddie shit. Daniel.
Tell me.
I got a story for you, man.
Please tell me.
And I'm glad you put the alien light on behind us because we're going spooky alien style story time.
There was so much air in that.
There was that. That was the last episode when I tried to do the X-Files whistle. All right. I want to tell you.
That scared the shit out of me. Go.
Terrifying. I want to tell you about the abduction story of Peter Curry. Okay. So, Peter Curry, his first encounter with a UFO happened when he was 7 years old. It was the summer of 1971, and he was playing with 7 other children when all of them decided to go on a rooftop. As he came there, an egg-shaped UFO was hovering above the other children who were standing like a statue. After some time gap, all the children found themselves on the ground floor with no memory of the incident. This is his recollection.
Mm-hmm.
He kept that a secret for a bit. Many, many years later, next encounter happened in February 1988. So he's a lot older now. When Peter and his wife, Vivian, who were in Sydney. It was around 11 p.m. and Peter was staying with his family. That night, his brother Sam invited him to watch a movie in his room. Peter laid in his bedroom, but what happened next was completely frightening. As he was lying on the bed, he felt paralysis in his whole body and could only move his eyes. He saw 3 to 4 foot tall creatures with black, wrinkled faces around him. He communicated with the aliens telepathically. He heard them saying that they would not harm him, and even made eye contact with 2 of them. Peter even noticed that one alien was male and the other was female, wearing masks. One of them inserted a needle into his head, and he blacked out. Peter described Peter described one of the aliens as tall and thin, with large black eyes in a golden yellow suit. After he got consciousness, he found out the creatures had also drugged his family members. Further, he thought only 10 minutes had passed, but in reality it was up to 1 to 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a strange incident. The third one, which is the main story I wanted to talk to you about, happened in July 23, 1992. He came home after dropping his wife off at the train station. It was around 7 a.m. and he was not feeling very well as he had gotten a head injury during an assault on the job site. So this is a bit sketchy. So he decided to go to bed and get some sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Peter felt something alighting on the bed. As he got up, he was shocked to see 2 strange women kneeling near his bed. He described one of them being Nordic appearance, with an elongated face, big blue eyes, and sharply pointed chin. The other one looked as if she had an Asian appearance. This is a quote from him. I got the shock of my life because right on top of me, there was this female, a blonde female. She was just milky white in color. Her eyes were probably 2 to 3 times bigger than human eyes. She had protruding cheekbones and narrow face that narrowed down to a pointy chin. On the side of the bed, on the corner of the, there was another female, Asian-looking female, and then the blonde female he noticed that the blonde female touches her stomach and then points at the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Although no normal communication occurred, the Nordic woman seemed to be in charge, and Curry got the impression that she was giving the Asian-looking woman some sort of instructions. She was 6 feet tall, very strong. She tried to copulate with Peter by pulling him towards her breasts. He resisted 3 times. Out of frustration, Peter, when she pulled him towards her, he bit her nipple off, and he managed to keep it in his mouth. He bit a chunk off. Apparently, the blonde-looking one did not give a sign of soreness or the sensations of pain. However, she showed with all her appearance that this was not how it's supposed to happen. She then exchanged glances with the Asian-looking woman and had the expression on her face like, this isn't how it's supposed to be. You've done this the wrong way. Instinctively, Peter tried to swallow the bite, but it got stuck in his throat and he started coughing. As soon as he started coughing, the aliens disappeared. Mm-hmm. Immediately, he tried to clear his throat, but his attempts were unsuccessful. And then later on, he examined himself and he found 2 strands of white hair on his genitals.
Yes.
He had the foresight to put them in a sealed bag for testing. And I think the story itself got a bit of traction because he felt compelled to talk about this after he had a previous encounter in 1988. And he got some guy involved in the science community who tested it. And the blonde hair was really thin and almost transparent. And the DNA was isolated using a PCR test For the period of the experiment, the hair samples were also taken from Peter and his wife. Strangely, the test results came back from the hair, which came back saying that it was biologically close to a normal human genetics, but showed 5 distinct DNA markers that are characteristics of a rare subgroup of Chinese Mongoloid racial type, which I didn't really understand. But apparently that's a very, very rare racial type.
Mm-hmm.
Then, I mean, from what I was reading, that trails off into a whole thing about, like, the importance of how weird that connection was, and how it has nothing to do with the Nordic appearance, because a lot of the people from that subgroup all have characteristics of jet black hair, and this was a fine see-through hair, didn't have any signs of chemical treating, so they can't date it any other way.
Wow.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think he had sleep paralysis? The hair sample is interesting, but I read also that this assault that he supposedly had on a work site, he was taking medication for pain meds. And we don't know how strong the pain meds were, but that could have caused some sort of hallucination. There's a lot of skepticism behind it, but
but the fact that they had the test done and the hair. Now, I love that story. Thank you very much for bringing it up. I actually had heard some of that story on a video I watched many years ago, over 10 years ago. I watched it with my wife, and we saw it randomly on SBS.
Wow.
And it was a doco about this guy.
Right. I have seen there's a video of an interview of him.
And I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't know about anything about the first half of the story, that he had multiple visits before. I don't remember that. I do remember him talking about this biting of the nipple thing and the hair wrapped around his penis, which he mentioned for sure. And they tested it. I think they said it was also close to like a Aboriginal in DNA as well.
It was like a very rare,
and like they'd never seen it kind of like that way before. I remember the interviewer of the documentary being very skeptical as he went under, but he also went under a truth
he went under hypnosis, regression session,
and also a lie detector test.
And his events are very chronological, and they stayed true.
Yes. It's kind of like Bob Lazar.
Yeah.
Gives me Bob Lazar vibes, but What I think, the interviewer was very skeptical at first, but when he started seeing this evidence and this guy telling the story, then doing the truth thing, the guy doing the interviewing was almost like in a trance of like, holy shit, is this really happening? Am I hearing this story correctly? Yeah. This is insane. And the guy seemed very down to earth, very just, this is what happened and this is the crazy. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But yeah, I saw this doco and very creepy.
Very creepy.
Potentially, I think he believes what he saw. I don't know whether it's.
I definitely believe that he believes that he saw that. I don't think he would be searching fame.
The hair is so odd.
It's a very strange thing.
I remember told me that he said the hair was very painful to remove for some reason. It was like it's embedded on his genitals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had to read 3 different websites, and dude, it was so annoying to read because it was the type of story where those like junk news media sites just copy and paste whatever another media site's put on, and it literally doesn't read right. So I had to just keep finding different sources to find a explanation of the story with enough detail, because they kind of just glance over it and like half of it didn't make sense. It was so weird the way it was written. It feels like there's all these fake news sources out there.
I feel like a lot of this stuff gets taken off the internet. To be honest, it gets scrubbed.
And they just want like click, it's just like an easy like clickbaity topic to get views on just a generic news site that no one really gives a shit about.
Yeah. Or it's just really embellishing the story of like it just sounds horrible.
Fun.
Or alien news.
Something that like Today would do.
Yeah. So one thing you brought up in the story, which I want to mention, what I read in that David Jacobs book, Secret Life. When he said that they all become frozen and then he had an abduction experience with friends, David M. Jacobs said the same thing in his book, that a lot of people, especially children, will wander off into the forest, or their parents will take them into the forest inexplicably for some reason. Then all of a sudden start looking at the ground or become frozen in place, and then the aliens appear shortly after and take them to the spaceship or wherever they're going to be abducted.
Their parents are taking them?
No, so it'd be like they all of a sudden the people around them all become hypnotized at the same time.
Like the story, his first story that he had. They all become
frozen like statues or start staring at the floor at their feet.
That's terrifying, dude. Then the thought of that.
No one's responding. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh yes, I remember what happens next. I get taken because they're subconsciously remembering it. Then they see the aliens like in the corner going, like,
that's terrifying, man.
No, but they have no control. Also, kind of only remember this stuff under regression.
But I'm just that visual.
They never feel like they're scared, but they also know that the things aren't hurting them.
Yeah,
they're like, I know what this is.
Yeah, I didn't write it down because I wanted to talk mainly about that third abduction story, but that second one that happened in 1988. He said something very interesting, that was he was feeling absolutely terrified. And then one of the aliens did something, and instantly he wasn't fearful at all. It's like it had just all washed out of him instantly.
Yeah. They kind of do that, like play with your emotions type thing.
Yeah.
I heard an interesting story, was another thing about it. Well, look, sorry, getting sidetracked here, but I honestly believe him.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick something, like so many stories like this happen, what is he getting from this? Like, do you know what I mean? He's not getting... Is he selling books or like what?
There is a book. I don't think he wrote it. And it is interesting that he only talked about that third encounter. He only talked about the second and first encounter because the third encounter had happened. The second encounter wasn't enough for him to even speak out or tell anyone about.
That's what I mean. So many people come out with these stories and just get ridiculed for them. And so... they're not coming out to go, oh, look at me, I'm making up this crazy shit to get something. It's like, what are you getting?
But I will say that second encounter does sound so much like sleep paralysis, and I don't doubt that he experienced that. But it's so many of the similar symptoms of sleep paralysis. That second one, he was frozen solid. He could only move his eyes. He was yelling for help.
I do get that too, but the hair.
That was on the third. The hair is the only thing that's making me question his whole narrative.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Very odd, specific thing to be like, this was on my genitals. Like, very strange. It doesn't sound like you're really making that up. It's kind of like, they gift. If you were to make it up, I feel like a person who would make it up would say something along the lines of, and they gifted me this blessing of hair to say I was the chosen one and blah, 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 and really embellish it to some crazy nth degree.
I'm going to be the skeptic here and say that...
Why can't you be the believer?
I want to believe, dude. I want to believe so badly. Yeah. I'm telling you, if I hear something convincing, I'm believing. I would love to believe. But you do need to tread lightly, because people do want some fame for this sort of stuff. And that's why there's so many fake stories out there. But the fact that he had a head injury on this third encounter, he could have been taking medication for that pain,
and it triggered sleep paralysis.
What if he cheated on his wife? What if he cheated on his wife and he had some other woman's hair on his dick?
Yeah, okay.
I'm just putting it out there. Oh, what? This hair... it must have been aliens, honey.
I'm sure the wife would have known the previous stories that he mentioned.
He dropped her off in the morning.
No. I mean, he would have probably brought them up to his wife as a kid. Like the one about the kid. I was like, there's something happened like that as a kid.
Maybe. But look, I'm just putting that out there. That's a possibility.
It's a possibility that it is sleep paralysis. Yes, I agree.
The second one, sleep paralysis. The third one, banged his head. Maybe did something he regretted, or he did something that he knew of and he chalked it up to... But look, he did a hypnotic session and that was all consistent. The hair is very strange. And I think that you can go down a whole rabbit hole with the hair and that sample. But I guess...
Pretty cool to have something.
It's very, very cool to have something physical.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And there's an artist sketch we'll put up on the screen of this blue-haired Nordic-looking alien of his, and pretty freaky looking.
A lot of people say the Nordics, though, like, as a species that other people have mentioned that they encounter.
Yeah.
It's not like a really made-up thing. But also the friend staring thing at the floor.
When he was a kid.
Yeah, that's tripping me out because that's what I read in a book.
The
book came out not that long ago.
Interesting. Out of all those three encounters, I have to say that first one when he was 7 years old, freaked me out the most. The story of them innocent kids playing, and then a UFO coming, and then he says that it was hovering above the other children, and all the other children were standing like a statue. That's terrifying to me.
Yeah, that's what.
Imagine
that's what
just
happens,
just joy happening. You know, kids are just playing, and all of a sudden, just
you think it's like
all the happiness is gone, and they're just like, oh, that's fucking terrifying to me.
Yeah,
terrifying.
Yeah. Big fear of mine is something like that happening, but thank God I don't think I've ever been abducted. Hopefully
not, man. You and me felt something.
I disappeared for a while as a kid, and so
that's
my
true.
sister.
And your sister did as well. And you and me both felt pretty uneasy on our MIB special.
Yeah. Who knows, man? I'd love to know. I'd love to have evidence.
Yeah, man.
I've seen UFOs once. That's it.
Maybe you need to do a little hypnosis session.
I'm scared what I might find.
Yeah, man. It'd be pretty confronting.
I think so, especially if it's like, alien, something crazy. Yeah, that's super cool. I think look, I want to believe the guy. Honestly, I want to just say, I believe you, man. Like, whatever you experienced, I think it's real. And I think there's something out there that people don't understand with this type of stuff. And so many people say the same exact things from all walks of life. Do you remember the guy that went on Oprah? He talked about it. They had a bunch of people come out on Oprah. And they had a physician talk about it on Oprah. And he came out and helped the guy go through it. And he was like a expert psychologist and said, this guy came to me, he was experiencing these symptoms, and I worked with him for many years. Yeah. And then he was going, okay, I hear what you're saying. And then he explained the stories, did some hypnotic regressions, and the guy said he was abducted by aliens. And then he got ridiculed and he was scared and terrified about it. And he went on Oprah, and this was like Oprah in maybe the 90s. And the physician psychiatrist then started becoming quite fascinated with the abduction cases, and he started trying to do hypnosis on many many people who are claiming they're being abducted. And he said the same thing as David M. Jacobs, all saying the same thing, all people from different walks of life, including kids, which ruled out the, the indoctrination type thing, or like the profiling of like, oh, you're told to say it, blah, blah, blah. He's like, children 6 years old who don't even understand what's going on about it, people of all races, all professions, all things coming to me to say the same thing, and they don't want me to tell anyone that they're doing it. What else could it be? He said, it's not psychosis, it's not schizophrenia, it's not this, it's not that. He said, by my personal opinion, it's nothing but the truth. What they're telling me is what's happening to them. There's too many
He's seeing all the links.
He's seeing all the links, and he's seeing all these people say the exact same thing. He said, the only thing that can be like that is the truth. And I think what is going on, and people aren't talking about it, which was concerning him. That, again, Oprah's just trying to shut this shit down.
Because it would be absolutely...
She's just making him look like a crazy person.
That's all those shows are for.
Yeah. But the guy came off too level-headed, and the psychiatrist dude was like, shut your fucking mouth, because you are wrong. And it was pretty cool to watch. But very easy to find that video on YouTube as well. But we can't show it here. I'm sure Oprah's got that shit locked down.
Yeah. She'll come barging through the door.
Yeah.
Shall we end it on a quantum shower thought?
Go.
If you were a transformer, if you were a transformer, what car would you turn into?
Holy shit! I don't know, something cool. Lambo.
You'll be a Lambo?
Yeah.
What? Any specific Lambo?
Countach.
What is that?
The Lamborghini Countach.
I already know the like Diablo or the what is it?
Countach.
The Hurricane.
The Aventador. It's the old one.
Nice. Oh, the old one?
It's the vintage one.
The 80s one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like that one, dude. I like that one.
That's a Miami Vice one.
Yeah, that's a sick one. I like that one.
That's the one with all the retro wave pictures.
Yeah.
Aventador maybe then as well.
Let's have a look at that one. I mean, I feel like they all look the same, you know?
They all got that specific look, but each one's so different.
There's that one listener that has a Lamborghini is yelling so hard right now. Aventador looks nothing like a Diablo. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Dude, I was thinking...
What would you be then?
Oh, I don't know, man.
Hyundai gets.
I'm going to be a
Golf.
Toyota Tarago.
Toyota Tarago.
I was driving to work, and I drive past a Lamborghini dealership, and I was wondering, do you think as high status as a car like that is luxury-wise, sports luxury, if you got the money, you buy a Lambo. As a company, are they a huge wealthy company? Because how many people are buying Lambos? How many do you just have built each year? How much are you selling constantly? Surely not that much.
But I don't think they sell a huge amount, but it's like Rolex. They keep that shit locked down, and they only produce a certain amount per year to keep the price nice and high.
So but in my eyes, I can't imagine.
But maybe the fabrication takes a long time to get something that high quality.
Say it's $250,000, right? Are you selling that much that you are? I can't picture
some are like $500,000. Some are $1 million or more.
Some are $1 million.
The crazy. I think the Aventador is $1 million.
All right, I didn't think there were anything above $500K.
Nah, there was some special editions for like 1.5, 2 million.
But like, we'll say your average Lamborghini, right? There's plenty of them.
Yeah.
In the dealership, you'd see them. Like, if I was like, I won the lotto yesterday, I want to buy a Lambo. Surely I can just sign up and buy one of them, right?
Yeah.
Are they really selling a lot each year to be a very wealthy company? I can't picture that even if you sell a few, I feel like
maintenance and shit.
But how many people own a Lambo? You barely see Lambos.
They're in the
is that not just a suburb of just Lambos?
They're in the agriculture business as well, because Lamborghini first made tractors, so they still make tractors, and those things are a fucking mozza.
So you reckon that most of the wealth comes not from their sports cars?
I think probably most of the wealth. Google it real quick.
I think that's a hard search, right? Like,
no, just type in Lamborghini profits, division profits. There you go, Lamborghini division profits.
I don't think this will be accurate.
Yeah, well,
I reckon they will fabricate this shit.
No way, you have to disclose something.
Revenue rose 31% to 1.3 billion euros.
That's heaps.
Profit jumped to 70%.
That's like a quarter of what Apple makes.
I just don't buy that they're selling this much.
Yeah, dude.
But who has Lambos? Who's got the Lambos? Where are they?
Jay Leno probably has like 50.
So you can't have one guy that's
solely... See if they've divisioned it to like what the motor cars and what the agriculture makes. They're fucking...
This is a whole thing we're going to have to like go through. I don't want to skim through all that. That's too much to skim through.
I know they make tractors and they're good ones and they're really expensive and big.
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't picture that they... I mean, this could be such a stupid question, but I just don't think that they're selling a lot. Who has Lambos? How many are you selling? Wouldn't you just see more and more Lambos year on year?
Well, let's see how many are produced per year.
Surely not much. And then if there isn't much being produced each year, say you got like a collection each year, 2022 collection, are they all sold? Do all people, do they build a finite amount and then they all get sold? Or do they just have stock just sitting around? Like, Toyotas, they'd be selling they'd be selling so many. Surely Toyota earns more than Lamborghini.
I don't know.
I just picture like every year people are buying Toyotas. Every single year. Thousands of Toyotas are getting sold. Manufacturing would be crazy. But Lamborghini, how many are you going to make? And how many people are buying Lamborghinis?
I don't think Toyota make as many as you think they make.
I reckon they're making heaps, dude. Think about how many people buy Toyotas in the world. Every year, brand new Toyota.
Apparently, since they started, they've only made 26,000 cars.
I buy that. I believe that. I just don't think they're making
500 cars a year.
I get that it's a nice car, and I get that it's a status thing.
500 cars a year.
See, that doesn't seem a lot. And I can't imagine you're making that much money selling... Because I can't imagine you even sell all those cars in a year.
Parts. Sell parts, maintenance costs, subscriptions or some shit.
But you're acting like these people are driving the Lamborghinis until they fall apart. You drive a Lamborghini once every couple of weeks.
Who knows how much the tires cost?
When you got that much money, you're barely driving. It just sits in the garage as like a prize. Like, this is how much money I have.
Just from if they sold those cars alone, right? 500 cars at like $500,000 each or something like that. That's $250 million. 250 million.
Average Lamborghini price $200,000.
All right. Well, that's like 100 million.
100 million.
100 million, I think. 200,000, you said? 100 million.
But that's saying all of them are sold.
Yeah. They would sell it. They would fucking sell it.
I can't picture it.
Easy.
You think 500 people each year buy Lambos?
Do you know how many billionaires there are in the fucking world?
But like you gotta see what I'm getting at. Say the billionaires buy them, right? Where are they? They drive the same roads as we drive. They don't have their own town.
Man, you don't know billionaires. They're all in Beverly Hills.
So all the Lambos in Beverly Hills? I know Abu Dhabi has all the crazy cars and stuff, but like in Sydney, if you have a dealership in Sydney, someone's buying Lambos. I see occasional Lambo here and there. You got the drug dealer in the West driving a Lambo, you know? I see some around my area. I saw one the other day at my local shopping centre. I was like, this is so out of place, it makes no sense.
Lamborghini declined to specify its exact operating margin, but the percentage increase from 2019 was set at end of the year with a 1.93 billion revenue.
I don't know, man. I call bullshit.
I think they're...
Where are they? Show me the Lamborghinis.
I think that they're heaps in the agricultural industry, more than you know. They make so many tractors and parts.
I'd believe that. I'd believe that. If that's the case where that money
That's how they started.
If that's where the money's coming from, I would buy that instead of they're making all this money from selling Lamborghinis, because where are the Lamborghinis?
I've seen... Man, I saw one like last week.
Yeah, I saw one last week or the week before, but that was one. And I don't remember the last time I saw another one.
But you're not driving on the road 24/7 monitoring
every Lamborghini. But you're saying
Lamborghini.
500 each year.
In the world.
Only major cities would be buying Lamborghinis.
Dude.
You're not going to have someone in Alice Springs buying a Lamborghini.
7 billion people in the world. Do you know how many millionaires there are? There's there's a billion millionaires.
You think someone in Alice Springs is buying a Lamborghini?
No, millionaires, huh?
You think someone in Alice Springs is buying a Lamborghini just chilling out?
Yes, these people don't know what to do with their money.
They don't have a road for Lamborghinis over there.
Doesn't matter. Look at Dubai, man. How many people get cashed up?
But they have the freeways for it.
Doesn't matter. People buy it just to spec it up, bro.
Think about the people that would want it.
All right, wife's sister in their fucking apartment building was a Lamborghini specced out like it's fucking NFS Underground. The fucking number plate's a Tyrannosaurus. And he had a fucking Audi specced up right next to it.
Interesting.
Look at this shit. I'll find it for you. The shit was off its head.
See, that's someone that's wealthy that lives in a major city. I would only picture people that live in major cities having Lamborghinis.
I'm going to show you the real deal, my friend.
No one that lives in Whoop Whoop has a Lamborghini.
Bro, this is in fucking Sydney where there's no bloody roads.
Oh, Sydney makes sense, but it's a major city. We
got the shittest roads in the world.
If you have the money, you care about status, and you're in a major city. Uh-huh. And if you care about status, you want to flaunt your riches, you're going to have a Lamborghini. That's why in Sydney CBD, I always see Maseratis and Lambos and shit all the time in Sydney CBD. That makes sense to me. But where are the Lambos 500 each year?
Around the world. Don't forget. Yeah. America, 10 times our population.
That doesn't sound like a lot of profits to me.
It's $100 million just in those ones.
I feel like a regular manufacturer is making way more.
That's if they're averaging $200,000 and that's it. I'm going to find this picture for you, boy.
Oh, I believe you.
Where the fuck is it?
I don't doubt that people have Lambos in Sydney. I've seen Lambos in Sydney. You would just think that you see more Lambos year on year.
But they get dismantled. They get taken over. People put them in the garage. They sit on them forever and do nothing. Jay Leno, he owns how many cars has he got? He owns thousands of cars.
You're talking about someone that literally has his identity is just collecting cars.
Thousands of cars.
That's his thing, though.
And then you're going to be like, well, where's all the special Fords? It's like he might own 20 of them.
That's a special edition. I'm talking about Lamborghini General.
He would have heaps.
Dude, I don't doubt...
People smash him up. Go type in supercar smash
Jay Leno has cars.
Yeah, wrecked for parts.
But not Jay Leno. How about that? Just a regular rich person driving on the streets. Dude, people see Jay Leno driving all the time. He actually drives his cars.
Yeah.
I'm talking about your regular millionaire or 100,000
how many people will drive this shit, smash it up because they don't give a shit about it, and they're just so cashed up, they just obliterate the car and it's scrapped immediately.
So you reckon that majority of Lambos are being written off?
I don't say majority. I say heaps are getting collected. Heaps are getting sat on in people's garages to go look at it. I know tons of people who never drive their cars and just sit on them and go, I drive it in summer maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
So those people are just spreading out more and more. There's more and more people in the world
So
constantly.
you think more people? It's more of just a trophy.
Could be, yeah, totally. But I see some around the place all the time as well. I've seen plenty around here. I've seen at least 10 around here.
In this area.
Yep.
I don't doubt that there are some out here because I see them. But I don't
I've seen
think
10
they're that
different
common.
ones.
You've seen 10
They get
different ones.
rented for wedding events. You know, they got the specialized cars that the companies hire.
That's a business though. I'm talking about...
Yeah, but they might have 10 of those. And so they're buying 5% of the whole production in a year could be.
I can't picture a company would have 10 Lambos.
What do you mean?
In Sydney? No way.
Oh, no, but the whole company might be whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe it.
I don't believe it.
I think that's
buy
a
it.
very small number. 500 a year, easy money. People taking that for sure.
I feel like other car manufacturers...
All right, how many Rolexes you seen in your life? Rolex make 10,000 watches a year. You should be seeing tons of Rolexes, but you don't. But I know people who have Rolexes, and they're in such high demand. The Rolex market is now secondhand costs more than firsthand.
It's different to what I was thinking of because I see Rolexes.
Yeah.
And I know that they have...
I see a Rolex just as much as I see a bloody Lambo.
I guess I'm not really looking for Rolexes.
You're not looking. Now we're going to see Lambos everywhere. You watch this. We got to go. We're way over time.
Hang on. Just before we finish off, my partner sent me what this phenomena is called. The Bader-Meinhof phenomenon.
Oh, what? Once you notice something, you start seeing it everywhere?
Yep. Garfield is the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon.
He is the ultimate man.
I'm sorry, John. And on that note, guys, we'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Double Dose.
See you guys. We love you.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.